Hey y'all, I just wanted to share something with you real quick. A little tip that's helped me in the lawn care business, weed eating. Um, I see a lot of people that are using these Darwin grips, and those are great. Uh, for me though, I kind of like to move real fast, and I like the agility of just your regular handle. Um, but I like these high torque trimmers. They're only available from Shindaiwa, Echo, basically the Japanese ones, and then Husqvarna kind of offers them. I've always been more into Echo just because I used to work on small engines for a living, and they're a lot easier to work on. Husqvarnas are pretty hard to work on. You got to pull a lot of stuff off to replace parts and stuff. But they're good machines. They last a long time. They're built well. But this Echo 2620 with the high torque, it's just after I use it for a while, after maybe using something else, I'm like, I keep going back to this the most, it seems like. Of course, the big 410X 40cc, I like that one for certain things, because especially during the summer it gets real thick, and some of the weekly ones, certain types of grass. But this high torque around here, especially with the Bahia, it just gives you so much flexibility. You can run it twice as long. You can run the line twice as long with it. Another thing about Echo I forgot to mention is the speed feed heads are just way faster, way better than anything else out there. I tried the Stihl speed feed equivalent that they came out with, and it worked okay. It's just one of the things about it, you can't get as good of a grip on it to wind the line, and it has this little ring on the bottom of it, and when I take the guard off and run the line long, that ring starts to vibrate. Another reason for the high torque is I have always burned up clutches within about maybe 25-30 hours of use. And with a high torque, it saves the clutch because the motor's turning twice as fast, so that centrifugal clutch engages better. So that's the machine I always seem to go back to. One thing that has helped me as far as getting a grip on it, see, I like to run them one-handed a lot, and a friend of mine who's been in the business a long time, since before I was born, introduced me to that, and since then it's been a game changer, because keeping a grip on that handle and looking down a lot has a way of messing up your posture, makes your neck hurt. So there's a lot of instances, especially when you're knocking down edges, going around fences, using them one-handed will save you a lot of grief. Everybody says go right to left. In my personal experience, first, when I was working for a guy, told me always do that, and I did it just to be respectful to him. But in my own experience, I've learned that works good sometimes, and sometimes not so much. It's a technique when you can go left to right, and where you don't throw the grass in the flower beds and things like that, if you learn the technique right. And I'm not going to get into all the techniques in this video, but just a few little, ideas I wanted to maybe point out there to save y'all some grief. Another thing is on this handle, a lot of people like to run them up here. I have found that I like it down closer to the midpoint, because when I do actually grab the handle, when I'm not running one-handed, I can get a good grip on it, especially with a high torque and running the line long. Another reason that I like running the line long is it's easier on fences and it doesn't chew them up so bad. It has more flex to it. One major barrier breaker that I discovered was the type of line that I use, and so far I've only found one type of line that really holds up to running them rough the way I do, and that's this Shakespeare line. I ran across it by accident. I showed, there you go. Ran across it by accident at Walmart. I was in a bind, and I had been running, see, I'm trying to think what I had been running. I'd been running 105 Shindaiwa line, the green square line, and that's good stuff. And I'd been running 95 too some, but the 105 seemed to hold up better. But that 95 Shakespeare seems to hold up as good as the 105, and it doesn't bind the machine down quite so bad. So just a few little things I wanted to point out to y'all there. These Echoes and Shindaiwas they're great machines. They're not really built quite as well in some way as Stihl and Husqvarna. Maruyama is really good stuff, and I've owned a lot of Maruyama stuff, but they have problems with the air filter, doesn't filter as good. The carburetors seem to not work as good on them, the fuel systems, and the gas caps don't work as well. They leak, and the carburetor, they just seem like the motors don't rev as good, and that's a big deal when you're using a machine, because you need that quick throttle response. So I just wanted to point a few things out. As far as the Maruyama machines go, they are probably the best build quality of anything I've ever seen. But as far as the actual design, they're not designed as well as Stihl. Stihl has by far the best design of any machine on the market, but they don't have the torque reduction, and when you run the line long, you burn up the clutch. Another thing about Stihl is they went to the 4-mix technology, which is a 4-stroke, but it uses mixed gas, and they're good engines. They start really well, as all Stihl stuff seems to start really well, but the problem with them is you got to adjust the valves on them, and they get to where they won't run, and that's a major expense, and it's downtime of your machine. So that would be the main gripe I'd have with the Stihl stuff. I love Stihl though. I think they are probably the best designed machine out there by a significant margin. They just think about little details and stuff. For instance, on the heads of the Stihls, they have a little flange that comes down and goes around the head, and that keeps the line from getting bound up so bad on the head. But one thing I like about these high torque Echoes is the gearbox is bigger, and that little flange on these high torques is bigger, and it doesn't have the little groove, I guess you'd call it, to where the line can get bound up in there. So I guess, it's really about whatever you're used to, but I have used a lot of different machines, so I just wanted to throw some different stuff out there to y'all. Would love to see what y'all think in the comments, what you've had experience with, because we're all trying to find better ways to do what we do, and that can only be learned through trying every day to improve. So let me know what y'all think. Everybody involved in this who reads the comments would like to hear some good insight. So please feel free to share your thoughts. And as always, thank you for watching. I hope y'all have a great day.